I made a huge mistake. Recently, I filmed a video talking about a friend's gap year experience and shared it on social media. Instead of writing gap, G-A-P, I wrote gay, G-A-Y. There's no link to the LGBTQ community. It was a bad typing mistake. Many people sent me private messages alerting me of this mistake. Though embarrassed, I feel really delighted to receive your message and felt supported. I accepted the mistake, changed it, and learned from this experience. This incident reminds me one of my biggest learning at INSEAD.
Everyone makes mistakes. Superheroes on Hollywood movies, role models, parents, bosses, and myself. My world used to be black and white. I could not tolerate others when they made a mistake. Meanwhile, I could not forgive myself for making a mistake with anger and disappointment. I assumed that people would laugh at my mistakes, but in reality, many were nice enough to point it out without any judgment. AM said, "As your follower, I care about your post." INSEAD allowed me to accept my failures and weaknesses because through them I am able to improve. I became humbler because I knew that I needed to improve, and in order to improve, I needed the humility to learn from others. I still remember our entrepreneurship professor saying, "What you should embrace in a team is not the mistake or the failure itself. Rather, you need to embrace the learnings after the mistake or failure. Then your team will be encouraged to try, fail, learn, and improve."
Wonderful!
We each have different reasons for pursuing an MBA. You may want to explore a new job, seek a promotion, or discover a new country. What I learned from this process is that you may not achieve your initial target by the end of the year, but the MBA process actually unlocks more possibilities. Your targets could change during this process because you realize that your initial target is actually not something you really want. An MBA program can make you aware of new opportunities, alternative paths, and potential risks that you were not originally aware of. You may figure out that you were too ambitious on the target and use the MBA to build intermediate steps to reach not right after graduation, but within 5 years. Perhaps you received answers to questions you never had thought to ask before the MBA. So, if we have a goal and then, as we grow wiser, decide to change it, is that a mistake? INSEAD made us change, and we definitely changed a lot this year. INSEAD pushed an American journalist change from this to this, made a Colombian marketer stretch from this to this, and made a Turkish banker express himself from this to this, and finally we reached here. INSEAD even made an Egyptian son confused about recognizing his dad. This process allowed us to free ourselves up in search of the right answer. What is right for person A may not be right for person B. You need to find this internal balance by yourself. To find this balance, you need to listen to your inner voice and be open to change. It is such a privilege to return to a student lifestyle where one has full liberty to choose how to spend this time. The year at INSEAD was hard. Studying is exhausting and painful. The pain comes from accepting that I don't know it all. The act of learning comes when we overcome our fear and accept what we don't know or admit where we are wrong. Exploring and expanding myself was also painful. The fear of change is driven by the fear of the unknown that usually comes with the change. GP told us, harmony is not consensus. If we can manage tension within a group, learning and creativity are often the result. INSEAD is a space that holds the capacity, the trust, the commitment, and the conversation, which are the prerequisite for us to learn and develop from our mistakes together. During this process, we realize our similarities and differences and obtain many perspectives when interpreting one single event. INSEAD not only gave me a new perspective when considering about my career, but also changed my attitude about understanding myself, others, and the world. We need a patient heart and a reflective mind for changes. By reflecting, I am more aware of who I am, what I want. Insiders always describe this environment as a bubble. It is not the real world. All your emotions magically get amplified here. Stress becomes anxiety, disappointment becomes frustration, while at the same time, happiness becomes euphoria and routine becomes unacceptably boring. Singapore, Paris, London, Toronto, Chicago. I moved 6 times, lived and studied across 3 continents in 1 year. The lifestyle started off pretty novel and cool, but became overwhelming in the end. I found myself questioning if mobility had become the new fashion of our generation, or if life was changing so fast that we were obliged to adapt to constant traveling. Did I like this nomad lifestyle? How do I define mobility? Is it about my mind or my body or both? What should be the frequency? Although I have these questions, I continued to observe more emotions that developed in me. So love around, feel loved, be more vulnerable, and gain more trust. Although INSEAD changed us all, we stayed loyal to our key principles. What hasn't changed is our shared desire to improve, our courage to discover, and our willingness to experience life to its fullest. So what is a mistake? How do I define mistake? I hope at any time in life, when I confront a difficult moment, I will recall these intense experiences at INSEAD. I hope that in those moments I will remind myself, I was there, I am here. I cannot do it. I tried, fell, I changed, tried again. I made it.